A Fox urgent, New Jersey Governor Chris Christie on the attack against his accusers in a so-called scandal that's been brewing for weeks now and reached a fever pitch when explosive new allegations came out this week. Now, with 700 words, the governor is making it very clear he's ready to fight. Fox News has obtained an email sent by the governor's office, and it has a title, 5 Things You Should Know About the Bombshell That's Not a Bombshell. All of this has to do with the controversy over closing down lanes on one of America's busiest bridges, the George Washington Bridge in New Jersey. You may know by now, the governor is accused of being part of a scheme to cause traffic trouble on the bridge to mess with politically the city mayor where the bridge entrance is located. He has vehemently denied that, and now this long email. Eric Sean is here as this story is breaking now. And Eric, the governor's office accuses the New York Times of sloppy reporting, and there's a Port Authority former boss that it also talks about in terms of a history there.
Absolutely. It's really, Harris, quite an unusual email tonight. It blasts the claims that Governor Christie knew about the George Washington Bridge closures as they were happening. The governor has always denied that. You know, this accusation first came yesterday in that letter from the lawyer for this man, David Wildstein. He's the former Christie ally, a New York Port Authority appointee, the official, Harris, you talked about. He oversaw the closings, and he took the fifth before the Assembly committee that is investigating the scandal. Wildstein's lawyer claimed in that letter that, quote, evidence exists, he said, that the governor knew all about the lane closures at the time. So in the email obtained by Fox News, the governor's office says not so. Quote, the New York Times bombshell, not a bombshell. A media firestorm was set off by sloppy reporting from the New York Times and their suggestion that there was actually, quote, evidence, unquote, when it was a letter alleging that evidence exists. Forced to change the lead almost immediately, the Times was roundly criticized, they say. Well, the email does reiterate the governor's claims that he learned about the closures from the media after they were over and that he had no part in them at all. The email also attacks Wildstein personally, saying he's been described as tumultuous, suggests that Wildstein is untrustworthy. Get a load of this, Harris. Quote, as a 16-year-old kid, he sued over a local school board election. He was publicly accused by his high school social studies teacher of deceptive behavior. He had a controversial tenure as mayor of Livingston. He was an anonymous blogger known as Wally Edge. He had a strange habit of registering web addresses for other people's names without telling them. Bottom line, says the governor's office, David Wildstein will do and say anything to save David Wildstein. Well, this all comes as the U.S. attorney is investigating, and on Monday, day after tomorrow, a slew of material that's been subpoenaed by the New Jersey State Investigative Committee looking into this scandal. Well, all that material is due in Trenton, and we expect public hearings to start in a few weeks. So, Harris, this will all be ramping up.
Yeah, you know, I wanted to talk about the timing of this because it's coming just on the heels of this. And so now the governor now is fully engaged with a lot of information about this Wildstein. What is their history? Well,
there is a history there. The governor tried to distance himself from that. They went to Livingston High School together. Wildstein was in a different year than the governor. And some have said that Wildstein was the governor's so-called eyes and ears of the Port Authority. He's a political ally or has been in the past. The governor, though, in that news conference that you see there on January 9th, he distanced himself from Wildstein, saying, well, they really weren't friends. He hadn't talked to him very much over the past few years at all. That the governor said he was an athlete, had no idea what David, as he said, was doing at the time. It didn't really have much connection with him, but all this may be part of the investigation as those emails that have been subpoenaed will continue to come out. A lot of those emails from Wildstein's lawyers were redacted. We don't know what was said in a lot of this material, and that we may find out.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to ask you about, too. You know, this purported existing evidence, what could it be?
Well, the letter from the lawyer does not indicate that at all. Could it be more emails? Could it be stuff they already have that's been redacted? Could it be recorded phone calls? He didn't indicate that in the email. It also is important in the letter to indicate that the lawyer never claimed that Governor Christie knew that the closings were allegedly part of a political payback plot against the Democratic mayor of Fort Lee. The letter only claiming that the so-called evidence exists that the governor knew about the closing at the time, something that they are heatedly obviously continuing to deny tonight.
You know, it's interesting. I've got a printout of that email that we're talking about tonight from the New Jersey governor's office. It reads like a legal document. I mean, it's really spelled out with lots of bullet points, very easy to follow. And it really does make a lot of interesting arguments. you have to kind of telegraph ahead now, I guess, over the next few days of what's coming.
Well, what will come on Monday is the deadline at 5 p.m. for the subpoena documents. Some of the documents will not be handed in. The lawyers for the 20 or so organizations and former officials and current officials of Governor Christie's administration, they've been subpoenaed. Some of the lawyers have asked for a delay in all that material, but 5 p.m. Monday, Harris, is the first deadline as this starts to head toward public hearings, probably within several weeks.
A strong rebuttal against the accusations against Governor Christie coming from his office tonight. Eric Shawn in with the breaking news. We appreciate your time. Thank you.
Of course.